Welcome back to The Explainer. Listen, today we are treating the Cambridge Arabic 9060 syllabus a little differently. We're looking at it like an open-world tactical map. We are officially embarking on an exam quest, and let me tell you, this map is absolutely full of hidden treasures, top band marks, and massive loot drops. But honestly, only if you know exactly how to extract them. The ultimate prize here isn't just picking up some generic study skills, it's about achieving complete, undeniable mastery over the 2026 essay topics. We're going to decode exactly how to critically navigate some incredibly dynamic territories. I'm talking about the generation gap, media, employment, unemployment, free time, and social development. Now, you might be thinking, I know the Arabic vocabulary for all of those. Well, knowing the vocabulary just isn't going to cut it anymore. You need the actual game mechanics to conquer them. So, let's gear up. I'll be your guild master for this session. Imagine your screen right now has a sweeping map layout, a stamina bar ticking down, which is your exam timer, and a loot counter tracking your mark yield. Throughout this run, we're going to learn from two players in our guild. Player 1 is Alex, an over-encumbered warrior who carries way too much inventory weight, just packing raw facts and descriptive definitions, but completely lacks the agility for high-level analysis. And then we've got Player 2, Sam. Sam is a high-speed rogue who dashes through areas way too quickly, skipping all the mandatory puzzle requirements and completely missing the command word constraints. We're going to make sure you don't make their mistakes. Let's look at the path ahead. Our quest board outlines 5 crucial territories we need to navigate today: core principles, the method strategy, critical analysis, examiner warnings, and finally, the victory checklist. Section 1, core principles. Okay, so here's the dungeon boss prompt. The fundamental cognitive leap you absolutely must make to survive this exam is moving away from basic recall and climbing up to top-tier analysis. The Cambridge examiners, they're like the gatekeepers, right? And they do not want you to play like Alex, just lugging around heavy inventory weight. What I mean by that is simply listing basic Arabic vocabulary words for employment, or dumping literally everything you've ever memorized about media onto the page. That's just raw knowledge and understanding. It's baseline stuff. The real marks, the high-tier loot, are unlocked exclusively through analysis and evaluation. They want you to take a specific point, let's say the impact of automation on youth jobs, and completely deconstruct exactly how it works, and then evaluate its broader impact on social development in the Arab world. You see, the assessment framework strictly prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. You have to read the command word runes perfectly. If the prompt says evaluate, but you treat it like an explain question, you've just triggered a massive trap. You will drain your mark potential instantly because you're using the wrong mechanics for the boss fight. Section 2. Executing the method strategy. So, how do we actually do this in the middle of a raid? We use the method strategy. You need to treat every complex past paper prompt like a dungeon boss to be systematically dismantled. Let's imagine Alex and Sam at the co-op practical table right now, looking at a huge essay prompt. They're arguing over how to build an unshakable model response. Alex wants to overload the framework by just dropping massive dictionary definition scrolls everywhere. Sam, on the other hand, is freaking out about the stamina meter running low and just wants to pivot immediately into the conclusion. As the guild master, I have to step in and fix their pacing logic. Here is the exact procedural framework you need to use to keep your stamina up. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. What exact facet of the generation gap are they targeting? Step 2. Extract relevant data from your source texts. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Step 4. Execute your analysis and verify your logic flow. And finally, Step 5. Present your findings with correct terminology. If you try to play like Sam and rush to the end without following this sequence, your stamina will hit 0 and your argument is going to totally collapse. Following these exact steps ensures you are continually racking up process marks along the entire journey. To go a bit deeper on this, think of this methodology as having 2 main pillars holding up your entire run. On one side, you have data interpretation. This is where you perform a visual radar sweep of a provided text. So maybe it's a case study on how social media influences free time. You need to sweep that text, interpret the relationships between the variables, and draw solid, evidence-based conclusions. On the other side, you've got practical application. This is where you deploy your professional skills. It means applying the correct essay formats, using the precise Arabic terminology required by the Cambridge syllabus, and actually evaluating the overall performance of your argument as you write it. You need both of these pillars standing strong to yield a top-tier essay. If one crumbles, the whole structure comes down. Section 3. Mastering critical analysis. All right, we are entering the critical analysis phase. Evaluation is an active, aggressive process. Think of these 3 elements on screen as your critical strike actions. First up, top-scoring candidates always question assumptions. If a text implies that all modern media negatively widens the generation gap, don't just sit there and accept it as a universal fact. Question it. Hit it with a critical strike. Second, consider different perspectives. How might an older generation view the concept of modern free time compared to a younger generation that is just entering the workforce? The perspectives completely change the narrative. And third, you have to justify your analytical decisions with hard, undeniable evidence. Now, if you ever find yourself stuck mid-paragraph, maybe your evidence link drops and you're threatened with a total quest failure, use the Peel structure as your tactical blueprint. Point, evidence, explain, link. You rewrite your text line by line using that blueprint to create a perfectly balanced, high-scoring block of text. Assessing and linking the quality of your evidence is what elevates an essay from a basic, average response to an absolute masterclass. Okay, quest pause. Before we unlock this top-band paragraph layout to help you conquer your next Cambridge exam, make sure your Guild feed is perfectly optimized. Take a second right now to subscribe to Ace the Exams, that's at Ace the Exams, and enable all notifications so you never miss our weekly strategic map drops. Whether you are traversing IGCSE, O-Levels, AS, or A-Level territory, we've got you covered. Hit that bell. All right, Mana recharged. Let's jump into the interactive viewer raid world. I'm handing control over to you for a live diagnostic check. Challenge 1 is the visual radar sweep. Imagine a highly complex source data chart is on your screen right now, and you've got a 60-second countdown timer ticking away. I want you to ask yourself this question. Can you identify the limitations and assumptions in the evidence? Whenever you're presented with a source regarding employment or social development, actively challenge it. What is this specific source absolutely not telling you? What alternative interpretations exist regarding youth unemployment, and how do those variables completely alter the final conclusion? If you can articulate the limitations of the data you're using before that grid resets, you instantly prove to the examiner that you're operating at the highest cognitive level. Section 4. Top 3 Examiner Warnings. Time for Challenge 2. Spot the defective item. The principal examiner reports act as a literal map of critical traps that thousands of previous candidates have blindly fallen into. Trap number 1. Using the wrong approach for the wrong context. Listen, you cannot use a generic analytical template for everything. An essay analyzing the cultural nuances of the generation gap requires a completely different analytical lens than a hardcore economic argument about unemployment. Trap number 2, forgetting format and presentation. You could have the most brilliant ideas in the world, but if they are lost in a chaotic, messy structure, you will not get top marks. And trap number 3, which is highly fatal, answers are not specific to the context given. Let me use my digital pointer here. Imagine a medium-tier student paragraph. The logic drops right at the line where they ignore the context. If the prompt specifically outlines a scenario regarding rural social development, you must anchor your analysis in that exact rural scenario. If you give a generic urban analysis instead, your mark drops to 0 for that section. Spot that defective logic in your own work before the examiner does. I need to emphasize this because it's a stark, non-negotiable golden rule from the examiners. The quote says, "Always define terms before using them in extended responses." Candidates consistently, year after year, bleed marks by confusing key terminology. If your essay quest is tackling the topic of media, your very first strategic move should be defining exactly what media means within the boundaries of your specific argument. And you do this before you launch into your extended response. Never, ever assume the examiner is just going to guess your intent. Define the terms, set the boundaries of the battlefield, and then build your attack. Section 5, the Exam Quest Victory Checklist. Alex and Sam just confirmed a successful full mark quest compile, and they are looking at their final loot drop breakdown. Here is how they did it. Your final presentation checklist requires 4 absolute pillars to secure that maximum exam loot. First, proper headings to clearly map out your logical process for the examiner. Second, correct terminology, deploying those precisely defined Arabic terms we just talked about. Third, appropriate formats that strictly suit the Cambridge 9680 standards. And fourth, clear annotation or necessary. Adhering to these strict formatting conventions tells the examiner that you aren't just scrambling for survival. You are a highly organized candidate in complete, absolute control of the material. We've mapped out a massive amount of tactical territory today. I'm going to distill this entire simulation into 3 universal rules you need to carry with you. Rule 1, the pre-quest question scan. Always decode those command words first. Rule 2, the stamina pacing matrix. Allocate your timing properly so you don't burn out like Sam. And Rule 3, the post-quest review checklist. Check your formatting. You now have the strategy and the mechanics to systematically dismantle the syllabus. But the true test is application. As you prepare to tackle these high-stakes topics, Ask yourself, are you just carrying the inventory weight of memorized vocabulary, or are you truly ready to critically evaluate the shifting dynamics of the modern Arab world? Master the core concepts, execute the method, and go conquer that exam. And hey, before you log off, subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams, click that notification bell for our weekly Level Up masterclasses, and drop a comment down below sharing exactly which Cambridge subject and level, whether it's IGCSE, O-Level, AS, or A-Level, you are preparing to conquer next. See you in the next raid.